Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. And here it is.
Have you ever looked at an iPhone and thought, why is this thing so expensive? A $300 Android phone has the same processor speed, same camera, same battery life. So what exactly are we paying for? Or take coffee. Why does a Starbucks latte cost 3 times more than one from the cafe next door when they're made from the same coffee beans? And then there are flight prices. You check in the morning, it's $100. You check again at night, and suddenly it's $250. Why is that? And did you know about Uber's strategy? Today, we're breaking down the basics of pricing, so how businesses decide what something should cost and why those prices aren't always what you'd expect. Before a company can even think about pricing, they need to know how much it costs to make their product. That means breaking expenses into categories: direct costs and indirect costs. Direct costs are the obvious ones: materials, labor, and manufacturing expenses. If a company is making a smartphone, direct costs include things like the screen, battery, processor, chips, and the wages of the employees. Let's say these add up to maybe $80 per phone. Then there are indirect costs, things that don't go into the product itself, but are still essential. Think marketing, shipping, rent, utilities, and administrative expenses. That might be an extra $40. So in that case, the total cost per phone is $120. This is a very rough and illustrative estimate though, because according to Apple, the cost of making an iPhone 15 Pro is $558. So varies from a phone to phone. Now, the company knows they have to price it higher than $120 to make a profit. But how much higher? That's where things get interesting. Once a company understands its production costs, they need to decide how much profit they want to make. This is often done with a markup strategy. For instance, if it costs $2 to make something and the company wants a 50% markup, they'll price it at $3. However, if the company wants a 50% profit margin, the price needs to be higher. A 50% profit margin means that the profit should be 50% of the final selling price, not the cost. So for a 50% profit margin, the selling price would be $4 instead of $3. But pricing isn't just about covering costs and profit margins. Luxury brands like Gucci or Ferrari often mark up products by hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Why? It's called the Veblen effect, a phenomenon where demand increases as the price increases. The Veblen paradox shows that in case of luxury goods, a high price does not deter customers, but rather attracts them. A handbag that costs a brand $60 to make can be sold for $2,000 because customers are paying for the brand's prestige, craftsmanship, and exclusivity, not just the bag itself. So some businesses can charge significantly more because it just feels so cool to own a MacBook, red Porsche, or a Ralph Lauren shirt with a big logo, no matter the price. When setting prices, companies also need to keep an eye on what their competitors are charging. Of course, not all brands worry about competition equally. For example, Apple doesn't concern itself with what Android phones are priced at. Why? Because Apple has a loyal customer base that's willing to pay a premium for the brand. In contrast, Android manufacturers might adjust their prices to stay competitive, often pricing just slightly lower than Apple to offer a more affordable alternative. Some businesses use dynamic pricing, where prices fluctuate based on real-time demand. Think of Uber's surge or dynamic pricing. When demand is high, like during rush hour or after a big event, they increase fares to encourage more drivers to go on the road. Uber's pricing model is a very interesting topic alone and a pretty sophisticated one. And the same goes for airlines. Prices soar when there are fewer seats left, as the airline knows that desperate customers will pay more for the last available tickets. In these cases, it's not about how much the product costs to produce, it's about the balance of supply and demand, showing how elastic prices can be when there is urgency or scarcity. External factors like shipping disruptions or material shortages can have a big impact on prices. For example, if there is a chip shortage, tech companies might raise the prices of their electronics even though the manufacturing process hasn't changed. Likewise, if global fuel prices rise, airlines will likely hike up ticket prices to cover the additional cost of fuel. And just as economies of scale help lower prices with increased production, disruptions in a supply chain can force companies to raise them. Economies of scale refer to the cost savings a company achieves when it produces more of a product, as bulk purchasing and larger production runs reduce the cost per unit. This shows how pricing is influenced by more than just the product itself. External factors play a critical role. Pricing isn't as simple as it seems, or even as simple as this video. It's a mix of production cost, demand, competition, external factors, and even psychology. So next time, I'll dive into the psychology behind pricing, how companies use tactics to make us feel like we're getting a great deal, even when we might not be. Thanks for watching.